You guys know today is all about a pattern review for a skirt, a short A-line skirt. So if that's some content that you would like to see, keep on watching. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs, and in this video we are going to do a quick pattern review for the short A-line skirt that I created utilizing McCall's 8044, which is hashtag Jamie McCall's. Now before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into this pattern review. But before we do that, I want to thank all of my new and returning subscribers for your continued support, and I appreciate each and every one of you. So let's go ahead and get right on into the pattern description. So the pattern description for this pattern is a missus side button skirt. View A and view B is the exact same thing. The only difference is it has length variation. So view A is a shorter skirt and view B is a little longer. But view C, which is the view that I did, it does have a ruffle hemline, and it comes together relatively easy too. So that is the pattern description for this pattern. Let's go ahead and talk about skill level. So the skill level for this pattern on the Something Delightful website is rated as easy. Do I feel that it's easy? Absolutely. It is easy, but there are some areas where I think that you can get tripped up if you're a true beginner. So I would say that this is more for an intermediate beginner instead of an actual true beginner or beginner friendly. And I'll talk about where you can get tripped up at here shortly. All right, let's talk about fabric use. The fabric used for this pattern, I use 100% Ankara fabric. Now this is the same fabric that I used from when I did the cold shoulder dress about a week or so ago. I am using the same fabric, and I actually took the skirt off so you guys could see this. So this is the fabric that I use for the skirt, and I love it. I definitely love it. The fabric is from Afric Clothing Store on now I actually purchased it when she was on Etsy, but now she has a website, and I'm gonna put the website up on the screen and in the description box below, but it's africclothingstore.com. Let's talk about pattern pieces. Now I use every last pattern piece that's in the envelope. Pattern piece 1 through 10. Pattern piece number 1, the facing. Pattern piece number 2, the right front. Pattern piece number 3, the left front. Pattern piece number 4, the back. Pattern piece number 5 is the right waistband. 6 is the left waistband. 7, the back waistband. 8 was the back ruffle. 9, the right front ruffle, and then 10 is the left front ruffle. So I use every last piece for view C because that is the view that I wanted to do. All right, let's talk about pattern sizing. So for this pattern, it comes in sizes 6 through 14 and 14 to 22. The size that I cut was a size 18. However, I had to grade to the 20 at the hips to get a 48-inch hip measurement, because my hips are ranging from 44 to 45. Some days it's 44, sometimes it's 45. All right, but my waist is much smaller. So what I have to do is, to give me enough ease and room, I have been doing a hip measurement of anywhere from 46 to 48, and it gives me enough room. But one thing I didn't want is tight, and I didn't know how much flow, how much it was going to flow if I did a hip measurement of a 46. I didn't know if it was going to be too tight or not enough room. So I went with the 48, which is a size 20 on the pattern at the hips. Now, what I did, if you have to do the same adjustment from the waist to the hips like I did, you have to do your waist measurement, cut your waist measurement, which for me was an size 18. And then where you start getting towards the hip line, you need to grade to that line. So basically still cut an 18 at the waistline for your skirt, but then just grade to the hips of whatever size that you need. For me, it was a size 20. So that's what I did for mine. So let's talk about modifications. Since I already talked about the size that I cut, let's get into modifications. So did I make any modifications? No, I did not make any modifications to this pattern. Now, you may say, why didn't you add pockets? Well, if you look at this pattern, yes, you can add pockets right here, but I wasn't thinking of adding pockets. I was more concerned about making sure it fit instead of pockets. And plus, I had a love-hate relationship while I was constructing it. But once I decided on the top and styled it, I actually love the skirt, because right before I took pictures, I actually called my older sister and said, it looks like you may be getting another skirt because I'm not feeling it. She did not see any pictures. She didn't even know the pattern, what I was talking about. She just said, you made something and you don't like it. I said, nah, I'm not really feeling it. You may be having another skirt in another box of clothes that I will be sending you. And she just busted out laughing and said, you got this, girl. So I'm just telling you guys this, and this is like my little tip for the week, the month, whatever you want to call it, is you got this. If you think that you don't like something, go ahead and try to pull out 2 or 3 different tops. If you're making a skirt or some shorts or some pants, pull out a couple of tops that has some of the colors in it, and then go back to your styling board and see if that works for you. Sometimes, I'm telling you, I'm being honest, you guys, when I'm sewing it together, I may not like it then, and I'll continue sewing it to get to the end result, and then I'm like, ooh, I love that. That looks good. All right. So that's just my little tip for the week, the month, the date, the year, whatever, however often you have seen me and give these little, gems, these tips and everything, you guys know I like to give you guys my honest opinion on different topics. Okay. Let's talk about, did it look like the photos or the drawing on the pattern envelope? Yes, it does. Even though the model on the pattern envelope, she has like this gold, not gold, but silver satin fabric. I didn't want to do a satin. Plus, the only satin color fabric, well, I have 2 colors. I have a purple satin fabric, and then I have a green, like a teal green satin fabric. I didn't think I had enough in order to do it, so I just went with leftover fabric from the coat shoulder dress, which was my New Look 6512 that I do. And I'm gonna go ahead and link that video on the end screen for the coat shoulder dress, so you can see that video if you are interested in it as well. But I'll go ahead and put up a picture of what that coat shoulder dress looked like. All right, let's talk about, are the instructions easy to follow? So this is where it gets a little sticky. I want to say, yes, they are easy to follow, but there are several steps that can be a little fuzzy if you're a beginner. So one of the steps that can be a little tricky is if you're attaching the right front to the left front. And the reason why I'm saying this is simply because I had to take my entire skirt apart after putting the getting ready to put the facing part of the waistband on. Nothing matched up. Why? Because I'm gonna say this, and please take these tips if you do this dress. Put your pattern piece right sides together and pin it, and then mark the wrong side of your fabric. If you have a fabric like mine where it's the same on both sides, where you really can't tell the right and wrong side, it looks the same on both sides. So I kind of messed up and attached the wrong side to the right side of the back. So I attached pattern piece 2 and 3, left and right front, to the wrong side of the back. So when I went to put on the waistband, it was right. I did that part right, but when I went to put on the waistband and facing, which is the interface waistband, it did not match up. Okay, so take the tip from me. Put them right side together, put the right front and the left front right sides together on the back. Mark your pattern pieces after you do that, and then sew, insert your seams. Do the exact same thing for your facing piece. Do not interface your waistband piece until you have it pinned and getting ready to sew, to make sure that it is the wrong side. Otherwise, you'll be cutting another piece of fabric like I did. So save yourself a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, because I had to do that. And I know some of you guys think that I don't make mistakes. I make mistakes as well, okay? And these are like small mistakes that I should not be making at this point. But sometimes get in a hurry and you make the mistake. All you have to do is push through and breathe through these mistakes, okay? So I'm just saving you some time and giving you some tips. Another thing that can be tricky and fuzzy for the instructions is after you attach your ruffle, it wants you to not go all the way to the end. I'm gonna put these instructions down right quick so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so on the skirt, now I'm showing you the area with the buttons, right? On the skirt right here where you have your ruffle, you do not attach it all the way to the end. There is a dot on the skirt portion. There's a dot. You put the ruffle, the finished ruffle front part, to that dot, because what you're going to do is fold in that facing piece, right? You're gonna fold it in, and it's supposed to have a nice clean finish at the end of your ruffle, like you see on both ends, okay? So this is the other end. You see how it has a, I'm gonna bring it to the camera. You see how it has that finished edge? You want it just like that. So therefore, you do not want to attach your ruffle all the way to the end. Now, that part can be fuzzy if you are not reading the instructions correctly. Now, like I have said on several occasions, that read the instructions at least 2 times before you get started. And every time you sew something, make sure you go back to the instructions to make sure that you did it correctly. Always look at the visual print lines, you know, and when I say that, I'm talking about the photos, to make sure that it kind of match up to what you're seeing in the photos. All right, now that's enough about that. The instructions are, yes, easy to follow. Likes and dislikes. I don't have any dislikes for this pattern. I like everything about the pattern. I just feel that the skirt is a little long, so I should have cut it up a little bit, but it's okay. I'm still going to wear it. I'm still going to keep it. I think what I'm going to do now, because I do have fabric left over, and I was originally going to sew McCall's 8043, which I will definitely put up on the screen to show you, that I was going to sew that to pair with the skirt, but I decided against it because yes, it's still hot, but I would not get a lot of wear in that top for the remainder of the summertime. Plus, I wouldn't be able to wear it unless it's the weekend. So I didn't want to do that. So I'm thinking of something to do for the remainder of that fabric. I have roughly about 3.5 yards of that fabric left. All right, let's talk about first time experiences. Did I have any first time experiences? Absolutely not. I have done buttonholes, I have done buttons, I have done waistbands, I have done skirts, I have done ruffles, I have done it all, okay? But no, I didn't have any first time experiences with this pattern. Would I recommend this pattern to others? Absolutely. I think this is a fun pattern to do. However, this pattern right here, McCall's 8044, reminds me of the new Simplicity, I think it was the spring pattern, which is Simplicity 9552. It's pretty much the exact same pattern. So if you would like to see me do a sew along for that pattern, Simplicity 9552, comment in the description box below and say, yes, please do a sew along for Simplicity 9552. If I get a lot of response for doing a sew along, I will do a sew along for that pattern at some future date. All right. All right. What is my pattern rating? So this pattern, I'm going to give a 4.5 out of 5, only because that portion, that's the ruffle that you have to attach and then flip the facing back on, it can be a little fuzzy. So I'm just going to take off a 0.5 point for that. Well, that's it for my pattern review. I hope you enjoyed this pattern review. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So I thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to check the end screen so you can find more of my content. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep sewing.
Working a 9 to 5, I had to go and feed the God.